Do you know what FOMO is? Have you ever heard of such a term as fear of missing out? I'm sure you have heard of this, as it's very common among us. 4 out of the people have felt FOMO at least occasionally, and men more often than women. And according to other data, 56% of people experience the fear of missing something important. This phenomenon is characterized by an irresistible desire to constantly stay up to date with friends and acquaintances. FOMO is also often called as a feeling of regret, which can lead to the fear of missing an interesting event, the opportunity to chat with friends or acquaintances, get a new experience or material benefit. The expression was added to the Oxford English Dictionary in 2013, and the term itself is gaining momentum. I will tell you what is behind the obsessive fear that others live a more interesting life than you, and what social networks have to do with it. A 2013 study defines FOMO as an anxious, sometimes overwhelming feeling that you are missing out on a lot. And peers have something more than you, do more and know more. Surveys show that 3/4 of young people have ever felt this feeling. Hence, the constant desire to check social networks in order to be aware, not to feel deprived. Sometimes it's a help to relieve anxiety, but most often you just spin in the digital wheel like a hamster, updating the tape again and again. Is it just a property of modern life and there is nothing terrible in such feelings? Is it possible to break the vicious circle? In fact, everything is much worse than it seems at first glance, but the missed opportunities syndrome can be managed. If you get caught in the FOMO network, maybe at the back of your mind you don't feel happy, and in general you don't like life too much. The researchers put it this way. The results show that people with low levels of satisfaction of fundamental needs tend to have higher levels of fears of missing out, just like people who are often in a bad mood. As a result, many people check social networks immediately after waking up, during lunch, and before going to bed, because they think someone is having fun there without me. And they seem to feel better about turning the internet into an addiction, but it's not that simple. One question arises here. What are the signs of this symptom? Okay, so the following signs are a frequent fear of missing important things and events, obsessive desire to enter into any forms of social communication, for example, to go to all parties, meeting, events in general where it is interesting. Okay, the desire to constantly please people and get approval, the desire to be available for communication all the time, the desire to constantly update social media feeds, and finally a feeling of severe discomfort when the smartphone is not at hand. We know that social networks don't give a completely picture of a person's life and are often only carefully selected facts. It often seems that if you forbid bragging, some people will not be able to publish anything at all. But scientists convince us that we cannot help but compare our achievement with the achievement of other people. However, passive consumption of content on social networks increases depression. We feel more lonely if we don't just communicate with friends, but also follow their pages on social networks in order to feel happy and prosperous. It's disastrous to monitor how others live. As a philosopher, Montesquieu said, if we just wanted to be happy, it would be easy to achieve this. But we want to be happier than others. Okay? And this is almost impossible, is the truth. I want to talk with you about the problem of mindfulness. The most frequent reaction to FOMO is the desire to publish something, as if speaking, look, I'm cool, no worse than you. It turns out a vicious circle of the spread of the virus. Your past can also cause a person sadness and anxiety. What conclusion can we draw? Looking for happiness in social networks is a bad idea. You will not find him there. It sounds trivial, but research shows that FOMO occurs when you look outside, not inside. Okay? And the constant fears of missing something shows that a person feels bad, uncomfortable in his reality. After all, real life doesn't go in social networks. For example, students who prefer text messages, videos, and emails to lecture are not able to be in the moment. I mean to be alone with yourself for a long time. The key to change lies in consciousness. British scientist Paul Dolan, in the book Happiness by Design, Finding Pleasure and Purpose in Everyday Life, says that our sense of happiness is determined by how we distribute our attention. Attention is the glue that holds your life together. Changing behavior and increasing happiness is about switching focus from negative to positive. The question remains how to deal with the fact that life can be boring, sad, or uninteresting. Try to feel gratitude. The inevitable comparisons with fake lives on Facebook, Instagram, make you feel like you have less of what others have. Realizing that you have a lot helps you realize that you have a lot more than it seems. Spend time with the family and friends. Use social networks and messengers to make appointments in reality. Yes? And when you are together, put the phone aside, put the phone down. Imagine losing what you have, and your attitude will change. And let's not forget that this world is temporary, and everything in it is temporary. Are we really going to be sad about this? Thank you for attention. Assalamu alaikum.